Hello friends, in this video we'll see navigation and routing basics. We'll also cover how routing works in Angular 2 application. An application comprises of multiple screens supporting different functionalities. Routing helps in rendering and navigating between multiple views in the single page application. We define routes to navigate between multiple views in our application. Routing in Angular 2 is component based and each route points to the target component. Now, as you know, Angular 2 applications are single page applications, so it is must to implement navigation and routing in order to support multiple user interfaces which supports multiple functionalities in the application. Now in the image below, we have created this application so far in the playlist, and you can see a grid is being rendered and grid is showing list of players. So now this entire application is being implemented in a single page. Now we also want this application to add a player and to edit a player from this grid. So for these functionalities we need to implement routing. So when you click on the add player button, a separate view will be rendered and there will be a route configured for that view. Same case will do it for edit button. So for these functionalities we are going to implement routing. How routing works. An Angular application is a single page application. That means all of the views are displayed in the single page. This single page is index.html. An Angular application has one router that is managed by router service. We need to register the service provider in Angular module. So router module is responsible for registering the router service provider. We have to notify router about the route configuration, which route to activate and where to render the requested view. So these are the three very important points. So the first point is, what is the route configuration? So in route configuration, basically you specify for this route, this component has to be rendered. Second point is, you have to basically create the actions and tie that route to these actions. For example, add player is our button. So you have to tie a route to that button. So when you click that button, that route will be activated. The third part is basically where to render that route. So there has to be a placeholder which is going to be a common place for all the views to render. So let's see these steps. So this can be achieved by ensuring following steps. So the first step is we have to configure a route for each component. We have to define options, actions, and tying a route to each action option. Activate the route based on user action. So basically click. Define a placeholder where the activated route's configured component will be displayed. When the route is activated, the configured component's view is displayed in the configured placeholder. So this is the small diagrammatic display we have created. So when you click on the add player button, and you can see the second screenshot. So basically you can see in the URL it is pointing to add player route and add player view is being rendered. So in the third screenshot you can see against the add player we have connected a component, that is add player component, and this add player component has a template in the fourth screenshot. So that template will be rendered on the UI. So let's see through the application how this works. So this is the application which we have seen in the image in the first slide, and I have already implemented routing in this case. So let's see how routing works. Now currently it is pointing to player list route. Now when I click on add player, you can see this player list being changed to add player, and that add player route is activated. So I'll click on add player. Now you can see add player route is activated, and then this add player route is connected to add player component. So that component is being rendered. Now if I again click back to player list, then player list route is configured and we can see the player list grid. Now when I click on edit, so I'm going to edit the first player with player ID 1. So when I click on edit, you can see edit player route with passed 1. So we have also passed player ID 1. So when we do this, so we read this ID 1 in our component, edit player component, and then we basically display the information of that particular player. So this is how routing works, and the main thing to remember in routing is basically 4 steps. That is, configure the routes, create the action option, tie a route to that action option, and that route will be activated when the user perform actions, and then you have to specify a placeholder where the components view will be rendered. So this is how routing works in Angular 2, and in the coming video we will implement everything what we have seen in the player list application. So I hope you like this video. Thank you.